Star Wars Unlimited's 5th set, Legends of the Force, now officially hit major retailers. That being said, we're seeing a ton of new players enter the game. And if you are one of the new players, of course, welcome in and welcome to the game. Today we're going to be discussing how to play Star Wars Unlimited. Now let's talk about things you might need to start playing. I highly recommend you look at a 2-player or single-player starter deck. This starter deck, of course, is going to be a pre-constructed amount of cards, including 1 leader and, of course, 1 base, so that way you can jump right into the game. And if starter decks aren't really your thing, feel free to look at things such as booster packs. You also have your booster boxes, and of course, your pre-release kits, all designed to build decks with. And if you are choosing a booster pack, you are going to expect things such as a leader, a base, a legendary or rare card, and a foil card in each pack. Now, if you are looking at the booster box route, you do get 24 individualized booster packs, which will give you a ton of variety to build and expand your decks. And if you want a pre-release kit, you're typically going to find 6 booster packs, a couple of special leader promo cards, damage counters, and even a deck building guide, and also a simple cardboard deck box to get you started. Now, a quick note about accessories. Though they're not a necessity, they can definitely enhance your gameplay experience. You can find things such as official deck boxes, sleeves, or even playmats from Star Wars Limited or even third-party providers. So now let's talk about exactly what you need to start playing. You'll need a 60 or more card constructed deck. You'll need, of course, 1 leader and 1 base. One thing to quickly note about the deck itself, you cannot have more than 3 of the exact same copy of the card inside the deck. Meaning if you have 3 of these green Darth Vaders, you cannot hone a 4th one. But if you have this blue Darth Vader, 3 of these as well, that is completely legal. It cannot be the same exact card name. Now let's talk about the aspect or colors that you're going to find within Star Wars Unlimited, each representing a unique playstyle. For example, we have the red aspect, which is aggression, which focuses on direct damage and offensive strategies. We have the blue aspect, which is vigilance, which emphasizes control and strategic planning. We have the green aspect known as command, and this is all about growth and resource management. We have yellow, which is called cunning, which focuses on speed and trickery. Next, we have white, which is heroism, which embodies protection and teamwork. And of course, we have black, the last color, which is villainy, which is all about manipulation and sacrifice. While you can, of course, mix and match whatever colors that you want, it's typically best to align your deck within the colors of your leader and, of course, your base, just so that way you won't pay something called an aspect penalty. An aspect penalty happens when you play a card outside your chosen aspects, meaning you'll have to pay an additional cost to use them. Of course, unless the card specifies otherwise, allowing you to bypass the penalties and have more flexibility in your gameplay. Now that you determined the aspect colors you want to playlist, let's dive deeper into the gameplay mechanics of the leader and base. Your leader is a special card that represents the main character that you're going to be playing with. It's unique because it has 2 sides, the leader side and the epic side. The leader is going to start the battle like this, facing upward. Each leader, of course, has a certain leader ability they can utilize as well. After certain conditions are met, exhaust the leader to use the ability. And once certain resource conditions are met, you can deploy the leader using its epic action. Using the leader's epic action officially deploys it now officially as a ground unit, also granting the unit additional benefit and unlocking new abilities that the unit didn't have before. Your base, on the other hand, is the foundation of your deck. It is a horizontal card that stays in play throughout the game and it has its own health value. Some bases, such as this one, come with special abilities that can support your strategy, and the game continues until one player's base is defeated. Together, your leader and base shape your overall gameplay, so choose wisely. Now that you determined your aspect colors, your base, and now your leader, now comes down to drawing your hand. You're going to draw 6 cards from your hand to determine your opening hand. And let's just say hypothetically, you don't like those cards that you draw, right? You have the ability to mulligan them, meaning you can now take the hand that you have, shuffle it back in your deck, and draw 6 brand new cards. Now, if you're completely happy with your hand, you may choose 2 of any card from your hand to deploy as resources. Now, a resource essentially is the energy or currency used to play cards from your hand. Now let's quickly talk about the types of cards that you're typically going to have within your hand. Of course, you have your units. You have ground units like this one right over here, which either go on the left or right, you choose. And that then determines whether or not this side or this side is now officially a ground section or a space section. Then we have your space units. So if I have a ground unit here, a space unit has to go over here. A quick distinction. Ground units cannot attack space, and space cannot attack ground unless specified otherwise. Then you have your upgrades. Your upgrades can be attached directly to either a ground unit or a space unit you choose. And then you have your event cards, which typically are a one-time use. You use it, you put in your discard pile, and then if you have another one, you can use the same situation. But these are the type of cards that you're typically going to find within your deck. Some cards, such as this one, have special abilities that could either be used during your turn or your opponent's turn. And if you are curious about some of these abilities and want a deeper understanding, I've linked all of them down below. Once you have your 2 resources down and your opening hand ready, the next step is to determine who goes first. This is where initiative comes into play. To officially start your turn, the player determines whether or not to take the initiative. The initiative is determined by the initiative token and decides who will go first or second in a round. This can be a strategic choice as it influences the flow of actions during your turn. The player with the initiative will start the action phase, and both players will alternate actions until they both pass consecutively. If you pass while your opponent still has actions, you can choose to take the initiative for the next round, ensuring that you will go first when the new round begins. So let's talk about playing cards from your hand. Playing cards from your hand is determined by the card's cost, which is the top left-hand corner. The aspect is labeled down below, and the card type, which is a ground unit, is going to be labeled above the card name right here. You can also determine the attack and the defense of the card right here, and if the defense damage exceeds the defense of the card, of course it goes in the discard pile. The cards typically will also have additional text down below, and the allegiance in the type of card is going to be listed down here as well. So as you can see, he is a force unit and first order. You will also sometimes see a diamond across some of the names, which means it's a unique unit. If you do have a unique unit, you cannot have more than 2 of those same exact unique units on the battlefield at the exact same time. That doesn't necessarily mean you can't have 2 different unique Kylo Rens, but this specific one, you can only have 1 at a time. To actually play this Kylo Ren unit, I will need 2 resources, so that means I have to use 2 of my resources to play Kylo Ren. Every unit, whether it be ground or space, comes in exhausted. Exhausted essentially means you're turning the unit to the right, and you cannot use the leader's ability, attack with it, or do any actions with that card until it's your group phase. And we'll go over group phasing in just a moment. Certain cards, like Ambush, get the ability to use the card right away. Or if you're using a leader's epic action ability, that leader automatically becomes readied right when you deploy it. Now let's talk about turn structure. So in the beginning of your turn, you are entering the regroup phase. So during this phase, all your exhausted cards, whether it be your resources, ships, etc., now become ready to use. You also get the ability to draw 2 cards, and you also have the ability to place 1 as an additional resource if you so choose. Now that the regroup phase is officially over, you move into something called the action phase. So this means you can do anything you want. Attack with a unit, play a unit, use an ability, etc. And this all happens simultaneously between you and your opponent. You do one action, your opponent does an action, until you no longer have actions to do. Once you exhausted all your resources, units, used all your abilities, attacked with everyone you wanted to, etc., you will now move into something called the end phase. This is where we wrap up and get ready for the next one. You'll also determine who takes the initiative during this turn, setting the stage for what comes next. And that's essentially how you play the card game Star Wars Unlimited. I really hope you found this guide relatively helpful, and if you have any additional questions regarding anything we talked about, feel free to leave the comment down below and I'll try to answer what I can. Alrighty, take care and have a great day, and may the Force be with you.